Linux, weekly, daily Wednesdays. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day for the GPL because it has went to court. And it's nothing but good news, and OpenShot 232 has brought several new features. But the big question is, can we finally use it for this show?
We have yet another desktop web client, but this time it comes to us via Telegram. And have you ever wanted a single unified application for loading ROMs into your phones and tablets? Well, there is a pretty comprehensive one available for Linux right now.
I do want it. We sure live in some weird times, because soon you'll be able to install Ubuntu, Fedora, or OpenSUSE right from the Windows Store. And you're prepared to say goodbye to OpenCL. But don't worry, it's all for the best as it's being merged into Vulkan.
It's a great day for Linux, everybody. Let's get right into this. This is just wrong because we're talking about Ubuntu, along with Fedora and SUSE arriving in the Windows Store. I'm scared, man. Don't touch me.
It's almost there. I mean, the article I read said Ubuntu was already there. I checked. I opened up my VMware VM. And it wasn't there yet, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it will come. You won't have to be a Windows insider to get Ubuntu, or as I've come to call it, the Linux subsystem for Windows.
So, what do you think our end game here is? Is this Microsoft still trying to get? I mean, Windows 10 does have a lot more installs than I thought, if their numbers can be believed. Do they just really, like super serially, really want Windows 10 to become the all-in-one development platform, or?
They do. They very clearly do. And as much as people will have you believe that Windows is the second coming of Jesus Christ, we all know better than that. That's why you use Linux on a daily basis. But I am much like you, Ven. I am still looking for like a silver lining. It's like, what is this good for exactly? Because this is Microsoft making it available to people and saying, look how much better you could work if you were using Linux instead of Windows to do your development on. All I can think of is like, will game developers specifically be able to use the Windows subsystem for Linux, or the other way around, whichever one you prefer, to test the Linux versions of their games without having to dual boot, spin up their own VM, get a spare laptop and test the game there? Because that is a use case I would very much like to see. Well, it's the one and only use case I would like to see.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not impossible. I think you can run Mesa on this system, but I'm not sure this will ever happen, because this is targeted at web development. It's targeted at DevOps stuff. Like, it's always easier to do like Node.js, to do Python in a Unix environment. And it's pretty painful to do that in Windows. So they integrated all the Linux ecosystem, which is very similar to what you would run on a server. They have this right into Windows. But video games, I think video games, they have that on Windows already. So yeah, maybe to do some testing, it would be useful, but it's not meant to do that. It's meant for web devs. And the stuff Windows is bad at.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing, man. Sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's see how that story develops. Okay.
And then you can talk to us about it through Telegram, yes. So a while back, Telegram actually pushed out the voice calls to their mobile version. Say if you're running an Android phone and you install Telegram, you could use it to make calls the same way you could already do it with WhatsApp, that other one. So now, if you have the desktop version of Telegram installed as well, you can use it to make regular audio calls as well. And that's good. They say they make claims that it's secure, crystal clear, and AI-powered. AI-powered? Yeah, that made me curious too. So I started reading into it, and their AI is literally just a system that checks how your bandwidth is doing and attempts to adjust the audio quality. So even if your bandwidth gets really low, it will have already adjusted the audio quality so that the transition doesn't look particularly bad. From one moment you sound fine to the next moment you're sounding like a complete robot. So that's fine, I guess. That's it, really. It's good. We'll have to try it to let you know whether or not the audio quality is all that good, even though they seem to claim that it is.
It'll be interesting to see if it can pass the Stone Challenge. But if it's intelligent with the way it breaks down, and we downloaded, I guess it's to point out, that's the first thing I asked Pedro. I was like, is this some Electron rap BS? And he's like, no, it's not. It turns out it's legit. It's not Electron nope sauce. So maybe we'll have a go with it, and it's going to be an exciting year because Discord just announced, I think last night or yesterday, definitely in one of their little promo videos, not only do they Discord currently, they do voice, but they're going to be adding videos. So that will be interesting.
All right.
A federal
GPL.
court. Oh, man, check with the judge indeed. This is just like straight up rolled down. What happened? Well, this company, Hancom, they used Ghost Script English Fin in a project. They never released the source. They didn't even pay the licensing fee, which was available. And, this is not a little company. They reported like $86.3 million in revenue in 2015. Yeah, man, the creators of Ghost Script, like, hey, you got to do something about this. And they kind of took him to court because the enforceability of, just open source licenses, like, just GPL, the new GPL or Stay Away Stallman. It's always been like, what's going to happen when this goes to court? Well, we kind of found out because Hancom, they issued a motion to straight up just dismiss this on the grounds that the company didn't sign anything. And my first thought was, you genius, expletive deleted. Can you get away with that? But apparently not, because Judge Corley told them basically to GTFO and Stufu. So, short story long, I think they're going to get sued. Well, they're definitely going to get sued. And this is really good because it will send a very strong message to a lot of companies that know they've used GPL source code and have, tried to treat it like a BSD license.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. This is step one only, because this will go to court, and if that particular case ends up coming up GPL, cool. But again, this is just step one for now. It's a win, sort of. It is very much a good step at least, but it is just the one. We need to see it all the way through.
Is this the first time that the GPL got enforced? Because I'm pretty sure there were some cases where the GPL has been enforced. And, people have to understand that the GPL and other open source licenses are legal documents. The FSF has its lawyers. It's not a piece of text that you add to your open source projects so they are like pretty or anything. It's a real, actual legal document. And some people, they just, it's free, it doesn't matter, it's open source, we do whatever you want.
Yeah, but it never actually went to a full-on lawsuit case. So you didn't really have a precedent, at least not that I'm aware of.
I think the thing here is, I'm sure we're all wrong. We look forward to your messages. There's a contact button at linuxgamecast.com. I think that was the first time it's in federal court, ?
Yes, legal precedent.
Yes, there's a first thing here, but it's not the first time that the GPL has been legally enforced, because that's what it is. It's a legal document. So, if it hadn't been the case, that would have been worrisome, because it would have shown that the GPL had no value, and that's not what we want. We want to show that, yes, it's a real thing. You have to respect the terms of the contract, and if you don't, then you're going to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. All right. This happened. Basically, Intel saw that Ryzen 7s were out, and they were kind of upselling, I believe is the word we're looking for. So lo and behold, Intel being Intel walked all the way to the back of their warehouse, dusted off a box, and like, all right, I guess we finally need to use these i9s we made like 9 years ago. But man, we were really hoping to stretch out that i7 for another 3 or 4 years, right?
They tried.
Yeah, I mean, cool. It's a CPU. It seems to be a good one, that is. It's going to replace the i7 as the high-end models. And if it's properly priced, not targeted at enthusiasts, I might bite one in 2020.
Strider.
Well, I mean,
Still
look at this,
Intel.
man. Look at this. I mean, we're looking at 140 watt TDP on these things, man. So yeah,
Admittedly, the leaks that we've seen and the announcements that AMD made with their new, we will probably be talking about that on the Saturday show, the 16 core 32 thread parts. Those are from anywhere from 125 to 155 watts. So yeah, they're competing now. But the lowest end one of the i9s, as they're calling it, which is just the Skylake X and the Kaby Lake X variants. So they will very much be the enthusiast, as Strider so much hates that term. They will most definitely be priced.
I mean, 16 megs of cache, 13 for the i9 7900. The 7920 is going to be their $2,000 part, probably. I'm guessing, speculation there.
Yeah.
And, Skylake X is what we're calling it. And no, these are not enthusiast parts. I do not believe, in much the way Threadripper, stupid name AMD, you should have called it Threadripper. That would have been better. They're made for basically simulations, multimedia production, and running a bunch of VMs, man.
That's the thing. Intel already has a line for those CPUs. They call them the Xeons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
These are called i9s. These are very much, or at least they are targeting them.
Let me rephrase that. What I was saying is what these things will be used for, because they will be cheaper than the Xeons. This is what this is what Intel is introducing, something, because the R7s, like with the gaming performance, people buying R7s really don't give two Fs. I mean, in bulk, about their gaming performance. They're using it for work and getting stuff done. Intel, the one good thing you can say about the R7s, it pushed this out earlier. I don't believe for a second Intel wanted to have a lower.
Yeah, it could be the case, and chances are they were very much rushed along when they saw what AMD could do with even just the R7s, because, okay, sure, they still took them in single-threaded performance, but when it came to multi-threaded performance, AMD just mopped the floor with Intel. So they kind of have to step it up.
Well, the price performance thing is definitely there, and I had to rub my eyes, because regardless of where you come down on whatever arbitrary BS camp you want to live in, competition is a good thing. Strider, what do you hate it?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I just hope that it won't be one of the extra high-end that no one can afford. If it's just like the i7, what the i7 is today, then it's perfect. You want to pay like maybe $350 for a high-end CPU. That's the perfect. That's what I paid for my i7, and that's what I'm willing to put in future purchases. So I do hope that it will be in that same ballpark.
Well, remains to be seen. But let's go from Intel's announcements to some magic. It's the Magic Device tool being developed by Marius Quebec, the other Quebec, and he has put out version 1.0. It's on GitHub. You can just clone the Git, run it. It comes pre-built, and what it lets you do is it lets you install Ubuntu Mobile, yes, that operating system. It lets you install Cyanogen Mod or Lineage OS. You can also install Modu OS, Sailfish OS, Phoenix OS, all manner of different versions of Android specific, like
now,
the
I
AOS.
will say this. I'll get around to poking fun at it later. You do not need to root your device.
Nope.
This is automatic.
No, you don't. All you need to do is have the bootloader. You don't even have to have it unlocked. You just have to be able to unlock it yourself, because there are some phones, as is the case with Nori's phone, that they don't let you unlock the bootloader unless it's already unlocked on a carrier level, so you could use whatever carrier you want with your phone. So that is an issue. If you have one of those phones, this tool won't help you. But anything else that you can lock and unlock the bootloader at will, have at. It will just let you do it. Now, they do have a list of supported devices, but that is more for people wanting to use Ubuntu Mobile. It's just the usual Ubuntu stuff like the BQ Aquaris, the Meizus, the LG Nexus 5, and the 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the 4 is there too. The Nexus 7, the OnePlus One, and the Fairphone 2.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this, man. All right, cool tool. All right, it's neat. It's simplified. Yeah. If you want to mess around, you want to put one of the nightmarish Linux distributions on your mobile phone. This is why we're talking about it. Have fun with that. But if you need a tool like this to put Linux or another ROM on your Nexus device, hand in your geek card, son.
No, I will disagree a lot about this. I mean, the Android world has been a mess until recently. And I mean, where was this in 2012? You know, when everything was a mess, or even when was this 1 week ago when I needed to reinstall Lineage OS on my Nexus 4, because I had made the mistake of installing a Chroma OS, which was made by a punk kid who doesn't know anything. Now I have everything working perfectly with Android Nougat, perfectly stable. So I'm not going to mess around with this tool, but I still tried it with my phones, far away from my computer. And yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. I mean, it has some, text-based menus and it will let you choose between your Android versions and everything. And for some reason, it doesn't surprise me that it comes from the Ubuntu Touch community, because, you know, the Android community is kind of garbage. And yes, it is. I mean, all the XDA developers and where you have to trust things on Rapidshare, and this is barely documented, and they don't explain you how to do things. And Ben says, oh, you need explanation on how to do it? Well, it took me a couple of years to understand it because it was so messy and so poorly explained. And then just now, it got better. Now that you have Lineage OS, we have OpenGApps, we have TWRP, that all made the situation much, much better. But because now you can actually ignore everything on XDA devs and like all the messaging. So yeah, I mean, you might want to do the things the hard way, you know, because you're a real man. But this kind of tool is like, it's neat. I mean, it's something that you want. It's just cool.
Well, as a lazy person, I do very much enjoy the fact that this combines both ADB and fast boot into a single unified UI. Admittedly, it is still console-based. They could have done a GUI, but as long as it works, I don't mind it being console-based. It's all unified. You can do it right from there. You just pick the options, run it, it does its thing, and you're good. So again, as a lazy person, neat.
I'll just stick with using ADB from my command line, like a real man. Manly things. Hey, check this out. OpenShot 232 is out. A couple of new things: undo, redo, crash, transform, crash. A lot of crashing. LibOpenShot detection, reduce file size. They got a big full list of changes. But what you're looking for is, I think the big thing in this is LibOpenShot detection is kind of the main thing, because you would have basically two main components, LibOpenShot and OpenShot Qt, your graphical interface. OpenShot Qt was not checking necessarily LibOpenShot, so it could get out of sync and get more haywire than it normally is. I decided to try it because I really want this to work. I'm still using OpenShot 1.4. Yeah, I know about KDN Live. Save me that mail. Because OpenShot 1.4 just works. But I tried this out and installed it from the PPAs, and also tried the app image because I wanted to give it a fair shake in case something was jacked one way or the other. I mean, this thing is just like through some regular videos, just going through it and scrubbing it, chuggy. I mean, then I fed it this show's video, just this recording. No, granted, you know, it's HQAF, and you can figure out what that means. It is laughably bad. Like, you can scroll and like count 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. It tries to get back over to there. It does have the title animation for, the Blender, which needs a very specific version of Blender that was made on an alternate Tuesday at 6 p.m. You'll have to look it up. But somehow it only has 6 fonts available to use in the title maker, which I know a lot of people don't care, but it's a certain part of our jank that we do on our Saturday show that I do care about, and it's completely unusable at its current state.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, this show and the Saturday show will be produced on OpenShot 1.4 until the end of times, right?
Yes.
Or, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure you are one of the biggest users of OpenShot in the world. So I was wondering, what is your relationship with Jonathan Thomas, which is who's a developer of OpenShot? Because I'm pretty sure he could get some feedback from you.
Oh, he could, but, that would require youtube.com/Linux Gamecast. Hit that subscribe button. I give them plenty of feedback, but yeah, there's a perfectly good product made by OpenShot. And trust me, right now it's looking like I will eventually be going to KDN Live or maybe DaVinci. Pedro, when was the last time you opened up a nonlinear video editing tool for the internet?
KDN Live 2 weeks ago to help Nori with something.
Mm-hmm.
But I just used KDN Live because it's not anywhere near as crashy as your experiences with OpenShot 1.4 are. And judging by what you've been saying over the past couple of updates that we've seen for OpenShot 2, KDN Live is good. Yep.
No, in all fairness, we're feeding it massive files and a lot of making it do stuff it's not supposed to. So it is extra things. But we'll keep you updated, and maybe it'll be super cool, kind of like Vulkan.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. So you might know about OpenCL, which is the compute library for using your GPU to do heavy calculations. It's the same thing as CUDA, but open source. And OpenCL is going away. It's going away in favor of Vulkan. So soon both APIs will be merged together into a single API, which is Vulkan. So that's kind of cool. It makes sense because OpenCL it was loosely based on OpenGL. Well, not really, because it's nothing to do with graphics or anything, but it's the same era and it's the same way of doing things, I guess. And now to have just one API, that's just good stuff. What it needs now is like a higher level APIs to do specific stuff. So for OpenCL, for example, you wanted to have like machine learning stuff, or I don't know, like science stuff.
You don't even need to go that far. You could just use the example that we are the most used to as Linux users, which is when you had OpenGL, Ryan C. Gordon put a lot of work into SDL to make sure that you could get all around the complexity of OpenGL and have a higher level system that you could use to do everything in OpenGL with minimal coding. That's called SDL, but Ryan C. Gordon said that probably not going to do that with Vulkan because that would just defeat the purpose. The purpose of Vulkan is, its primary purpose anyway, it's to be a lower level language that would provide a much closer access to the hardware with lower latency.
It's less driver overhead. It's pretty cool. So what does this do for me as an end user?
Well, right now, nothing. Because it still hasn't been integrated with Vulkan, but it's OpenCL. Let's say if you're into coin mining, you would be using Vulkan for coin mining in the future.
Exactly.
What this does for the future, though, it's really awesome. The more Vulkan supports different things, and introducing the compute layer is a big thing, the more people learn about it, and higher the chances are that we'll see Vulkan take over rendering, well, basically everything in userland. And I still want to see a Vulkan replacement for GLX, or if we are actually serious about getting rid of X, something along those lines, but for Wayland.
It could definitely be a cool thing. It'll be fun to see how this fleshes out, and because I still have a little bit of Microsoft hate buried in my 9-year-old self. And my favorite part about this article from Scott McShone was, DX12 can't do this. So,
Yeah, I'm also curious about the future of CUDA, because CUDA is the proprietary NVIDIA equivalent for OpenCL. But now, will they go for Vulkan, or will they keep CUDA, or will they go in somewhere in between and do a Vulkan-based version of CUDA? I don't know.
What we need is an additional standard to help unify.
XKCD 927?
Possibly. Hey, man, before we get out of here, let's talk about the Humble Bundle.
Oh, yes, that one bit of gaming news that we have every other week or so. It's the new Humble Indie Bundle 18, which comes with Ziggurat. Pretty good game. We've thrown shares at it. Windward, also a pretty good game. I've played a lot of it. SeaWorld Heist, that's one of the ones I don't have. Kentucky Route Zero, which won a bunch of awards a while back. Beholder, which I've never heard of. Some Goat Simulator Goatee DLC. And at the $13 level, you get some Owlboy, which was a very, very good old school, I don't want to call it hipster pixel, but it was very much retro-inspired 2D platformer where you played as Owlboy and you could fly around and carry your friends and do things. It was actually a pretty good game. A very good 2D platformer that gave it more than one chair in the fun category. So yeah, but no, it's good. Right now, the average is right around $7.48 or €6.76 if you're on this particular side of the pond. So make your pick.
The one of the things that kind of threw me off is when you choose where your money goes. It's like, really, the humble tip's larger than the charity tip? Ooh. Hey, good, bad. I just went, ooh, that's all I said. Yeah, man, $11 off Owlboy. I definitely picked that up. Strider's like, well, that's how it works. And to which I will retort to you, Strider, wow, you just blew my mind, man. I had no idea.
I mean, unless you really, really hate all the other games and think their developers don't deserve to be paid.
No, or you already have those other games.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't have any of those games, and I want them all.
Okay, that's your use case. Anecdotal evidence. Called it.
Someone just buy Strider the Humble Bundle, so we all still come on. Okay. What do we got up next? We need to thank the lovely people making this show possible.
Yes, we do. Lovely, lovely people. If you like what you've seen so far and you want to throw some money at our heads, if nothing else, than to get us to shut up, you can do so. Patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. You can pick between one wet stinky caches every week, all the way up to, well, let's 25 wet stinky caches a week if you must. That would be awesome. But thank you all very, very much of those of you who already throw us some money, and we actually have a couple of people this week that did. Carl Schneider and Erod20.
Well, Carl Schneider kind of rolled in, and he's like, hey, man, I'm digging this. He's like, bam, here you go. I understand that you guys are not taking advertisement, so I can trust what you're saying. He didn't really say that. I'm putting words in his mouth. Just stick with me. Just stick with me, Carl. We're going good places together. And we're able to do that, to get new stuff, cool things, and all that business. But maybe Patreon's not your bag, baby. That's why we got these fantastic Amazon affiliate links. You click on the one in your corresponding country. We get a little taste of that action, and that's starting to add up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for that. If you can think about it, next time you buy, you're going to buy the stuff anyway. Hook us up. Amazon wish list. I got to get to that. Because that's where Erod20 comes in, because this mysterious void of darkness that you see behind me is now courtesy of this. What I'm holding up is a 10-foot adjustable muslin backdrop support stand. So, and yes, you see a green screen, which we don't currently have yet, so don't even think about it. That's a horrible idea. That's totes not on our wish list. Yes, it is. Don't buy it. It's a bad idea. Thank you for that, Erod20. That is awesome, because I had a MacGyvered system, because we're basically trying to build a multi-$1,000 studio on no budget whatsoever, but just trying to make some fun things happen. But with the Amazon affiliate links, man, Reptilian Brain kind of hit us up. And on the Patreons, also a Patreon, beautiful guy. He's like, hey guys, I just made $40 Canadian dollars. It's like $6.50 American. Purchase using the Canadian Amazon link. I hope that some of that money reach you. Keep up the good work. Really enjoying the show. Thank you, sir. Reptilian Brain, who I always want to call Reptilian Brian.
Yeah, it's
That's
Reptilian
awesome.
Brian.
But yeah, man, pretty cool. And thanks for everyone for making this possible. And I feel dirty enough shilling. Can we go on and do something else
Yes,
now?
let's have
All right.
some pie to cleanse our palate. Well, the people's palate. Yep, this week, and as is tradition in the Slice of Pie, we have a bit of news from Hackaday, and it's a really neat project that gives everyone the wrong kind of chills. So, as you see, that there is a Raspberry Pi 3 dunked in mineral oil. That's not water, that's mineral oil, and the Raspberry Pi 3, as you can see from the LED, it's working, and it's got a 140 millimeter fan off to the side, kind of cycling the mineral oil around it to keep it cool. That is, that would be a good way to keep it cool, especially considering that he did, what was it, a 1.45 gigahertz overclock to the Raspberry Pi 3. So that's considerable, and you would very much need liquid cooling at that point. The video is one of those.
Forgetting the most important part. He put YOLO LEDs in there, so
Yeah, because he said that the effect looked really nice in the oil. That's debatable, but sure. I mean, it illustrates the fact that it is very much suspended in fluid. And this is the part that really, because he turns it on, and then there he goes, mineral oil, and he starts pouring it in, and he's like, no, that looks too much like water. Stop.
It's exactly my reaction. I mean, I've seen this done in the past with actual PCs, like on ATX boards. And every time I see that, I say, no, don't do that. I mean, it just feels wrong. But I mean, now it works. I mean, I know that mineral oil is non-conductive, but still, I mean, it's not going to do any good for him. I mean, no, do whatever you want.
Just admit it, man. You saw the abyss when you were a child, and it scarred you permanently. That's the only reason you can. Mineral oil is a lot cheaper than I think we used Florinert from 3M when we did this, and that stuff was like wicked expensive. It was like £100 for a little jar, and it evaporates if you look at it sideways. So yeah, don't buy that. Use mineral oil if you want to do something if you want to turn something really small and portable then make it really big. I think that's a good way to go.
No, he actually got one of those plastic aquariums, flipped it upside down, dremelled some holes into the casing, and filled it up with mineral oil.
All right. Hey, that's a thing. Hey, maybe you're thinking about making your own mineral oil case to scar Strider. That'd be great. Send us in some videos, but let us know about it.
Yes, you can do so by going over to linuxgamecast.com/contact, or just clicking the contact button on the nav bar. Make sure to pick LWDW from the little drop-downy selection box. Otherwise, you'll be sending some
just a
hate mail.
little confused. Every week you always /content. Is that how you go to web zones? You just type them out?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Because the address bar is already there. I could just type it. I don't want to move my hand to again, lazy.
Anyway.
But yeah, so you could just fill out the form. It's easy enough. Make sure to point out every single thing that we got wrong. Or if you're like one of our bits of feedback this week, if you watch the entire uncut version of LWDW, you can also leave us some comments on the things we say before and after the show is done. So this week, Christoph, he said something.
Yeah, man. He's like, hey, guys. Hi, guys. It comes to me that Red Hat and current owners of SUSE can buy shares of Canonical. Interesting situation. P.S. Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Dell, HP... Lockheed and Martin, Boeing, SpaceX. You get the idea. Strider, why does any of this matter? Because 2 years from now, Microsoft's just going to buy Canonical.
It might be a possibility, but yeah, I mean, all those companies buying shares of Canonical, I mean, that's kind of the point of going public.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, that's what you would expect. Yeah. As for the Microsoft thing, first thing, I don't believe it will happen. I'm pretty sure Canonical will remain its own thing and not Microsoft's subproducts. And if it did ever happen, they can't take Ubuntu. I mean, they could take the trademark, yes, but you only have to take one of those spin-off distros.
It'll be so glorious, though. It'll have the Windows startup sound with your Windows X server and...
No, I mean, the idea of Microsoft buying Ubuntu, or at least holding a sizable majority in shares, or at least a controlling share amount in Canonical, for them to be able to do that, I'm kind of with Strider.
No, I mean, here's the real thing. Shuttleworth is going to keep at minimum 51% of it.
Yeah.
Because it took him a long time even to consider killing off a lot of the moonshot projects. This type of guy he is. I respect him for that. I absolutely do. So, yeah, I just threw that in there to mess with Strider. But, yeah, that's what happens when companies go public, man. So, up next.
Up next, we have some meta feedback. Monolalia, she dropped us a comment on the uncut version of last week's LWDW, and she says, as another non-native speaker, I find Pillard to be far easier to understand than Ven. Monolalia, thank you. I appreciate that. But according to even the Google captions, if you turn them on and you hear Ven talk, Google Captions is pretty spot on. It might miss a couple of words that Ven says every now and again, but it will miss 90% of what I say. So, yeah.
Well, the thing is, you haven't invented a language that is loosely based on English. So that might be one of the reasons why.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. What are you trying to imply by that?
I'm trying to say that you have your own expressions that usually other people don't say. So that's why. I mean, it's not about the diction, or because people love your voice. I mean, you've received like a lot of feedback based on just on your voice. But
stop making love to that microphone, Ven.
It's exactly that. But sometimes you say words that you have to hear them a few times before you get what is being said. Also, that is all wrong, because Pedro is a native English speaker, at least according to my mom, who is an English teacher.
You know, when you wrote that in the show notes that your mom is a native English speaker, all I did was point at you and go, "What happened, man? What happened?"
What happened? 35 years in France.
Okay.
That's what happened.
All right.
I mean, yeah, all things considered, I think both me and Strider do a good enough job of speaking English considering our upbringings. I mean, I will eventually live Portugal if everything goes to plan at the end of this month. But yeah, no, it's thank you.
Remember, if you at any point run into Portugal on the streets in the UK, in Britannia, act like you don't understand a word he's saying. Just turn your head sideways and go, okay? It'll be brilliant. Hey, this was fun. Let's do it again next week. But until then, if you ever want to talk to me, I'm at Vin Stone on Twitter, plus Vin Stone, Google Plus, all over the internet. Say horrible things or nice things and all that, and I'll try to get back to you.
And apparently I'm a native English speaker. My name is Pedro Matheus, and you can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter, or plus Pedro Matheus on Google Plus.
And I'm Mathieu Commando. You can find me on Twitter at Striker, or on Google plus Mathieu Commando. And also on Chris.net.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Actually, we'll be back Saturday. Or
yes.
Tomorrow. Yeah,
actually, you will be back tomorrow, probably.
Well, yeah. Let's see. What do we do on Saturday again?
Saturday, we do that actual Linux gaming podcast thing. It's got a lot of foul language in it, so if you're one of those people, just don't bother. You're not going to enjoy yourself.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Not too bad. What do we end up with? 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's. I was looking at the clock. It was going to inevitably end around there.